Hey everyone, welcome back to the Conch Economist. Well, we're celebrating July 4th, 1776, when the American Declaration of Independence was signed. But did you know that it's also the birthday of modern capitalistic thought? On March the 6th, 1776, just weeks before the Declaration of Independence, a Scottish thinker named Adam Smith published a book that would change the world forever. It was an inquiry into the nature and causes of the wealth of nations. Today, we're diving right into this book and considering why it is considered the birth certificate of capitalism. Smith's devastating critique of the economic system of the day and his revolutionary idea that self-interest, guided by the invisible hand, created prosperity for everyone. Stick around. This one might just change how you see the world. Let's jump in. Adam Smith was born in 1723 in Kirkcaldy, Scotland. He was a brilliant moral philosopher and an economist who studied and later taught at the University of Glasgow. Smith was part of the Scottish Enlightenment, a golden age of ideas of thinkers along the lines of David Hume. He wasn't some ivory tower academic, no. Smith was deeply curious about how societies actually worked. In his first major book, The Theory of Moral Sentiments, published in 1759, explored how people develop morals and empathy, but it's his 1776 masterpiece that made him immortal. The Wealth of Nations is over 900 pages of dense, brilliant analysis. Smith examined everything from the division of labor in a pen factory to international trade, taxation, the role of government. It wasn't a political manifesto, it was a scientific inquiry into what makes nations rich or poor. At its core, Smith argued that the wealth of a nation isn't measured in gold and silver, which was very popular at that time, sitting in a king's vault. Real wealth comes from the productive capacity of its people, land, skills, innovation, trade. To understand Smith's revolution, you have to understand what he was fighting against: mercantilism. For centuries, this was the dominant economic theory in Europe. Mercantilist nations believed the world's wealth was fixed, like a big pie. To get richer, your country had to grab a bigger slice. But how? By hoarding gold and silver? By running a trade surplus, export more than you import? Establish colonies to promote cheap raw materials and serve as captive markets for your finished goods? Use tariffs and subsidies and monopolies to protect domestic industries? The system exactly fueled European colonialism. Spain, Portugal, Britain, France, and the Netherlands raced to set up colonies in the Americas, Africa, Asia. Colonies supplied gold, silver, sugar, tobacco, cotton, while being forced to buy manufactured goods from the mother country. Governments granted trading monopolies to companies like the British East India Company. Smith saw this as deeply flawed and even harmful. Smith argued that mercantilism confused money with wealth. Gold and silver are just mediums of exchange. They don't produce anything. True wealth is the goods and services that satisfy human needs. By restricting trade and protecting inefficient industries, governments actually made their own people poorer. He famously criticized the beggar thy neighbor positions where one nation's gain should be at another one's expense, through force or barriers. Free exchange, he believed, could grow the whole pie. So what did Smith propose? Instead, a system based on rational self-interest and minimal government interference. Here's the famous idea, the invisible hand, that Smith wrote. And I'm quoting here: "It's not from the benevolence of the butcher or the brewer or the baker that we expect our dinner, but from their regard to their own special self-interest." People naturally pursue their own gain. A baker doesn't wake up thinking, how can I feed the neighborhood today? He thinks about making profit by making more bread, and in so doing, competing with others, innovating and keeping prices reasonable. He ends up serving society far better than any central planner could. This self-interest within a framework of competition and free exchange leads to, first of all, a division of labor. Workers specialize, boosting productivity dramatically. Smith's pen factory example is legendary. Efficient production of goods actually need and want. Innovation driven by the profit motive. Smith wasn't against all government. He supported national defense, justice, public works, and education, but he warned against too much interference, which often benefited special interest rather than the public. Just as Jefferson's ideas in the Declaration of Independence were radical, Smith's ideas regarding an economy were also radical. They laid the foundation for classical economics and influenced the rise of free market capitalism. The timing with American independence wasn't lost on people. Both events championed liberty, including economic liberty. A free market for ideas also means a free market for products and services. Look, capitalism isn't perfect because it's a system of people, and people aren't perfect. Just like democracy isn't perfect, it's a system of people. People aren't perfect. But Smith himself warned about the dangers of monopolies and the potential for workers to be exploited. But his core insight remains powerful when individuals are free to pursue their rational self-interest through voluntary exchange. Societies become more prosperous overall. 1776 gave the world two great documents, one political, the Declaration of Independence, and one economic, the Wealth of Nations. Both bet on human liberty and ingenuity. Well, what do you think? Is 1776 the true birthday of capitalism? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, hit subscribe and turn on the notifications. We've got more economic history and big ideas coming. Thanks for watching.